The Chicago Bears just delivered one of the most stunning comebacks of the NFL season and possibly the win that decides the entire NFC North, 22-16. Their 22-16 overtime victory over the Green Bay Packers wasn't just dramatic. It was transformational for the Bears, for Caleb Williams, and for the balance of power in the NFC. Shaq, a game that looked completely over Pomfret Branchers. For nearly 58 minutes, there was no logical reason to believe Chicago would win this game. Green Bay controlled the tempo. They weren't flashy, but they were disciplined, physical, and efficient. The Bears' offense struggled to generate explosive plays, and the defense couldn't fully capitalize on the Packers being without key personnel. When Green Bay went up 16-6 late in the fourth quarter after a long, clock-draining drive, it felt inevitable. Soldier Field was quiet. The Packers were about to seize first place in the NFC North. Then the game stopped behaving like a normal NFL game. Jordan Love's exit quietly changed everything. The first major turning point came much earlier than most realized. Jordan Love left the game in the second quarter after suffering a concussion on a controversial helmet-to-helmet collision. Whether the hit was avoidable or not, the result was clear. Love was done for the night, and Malik Willis took over. To Willis's credit, he didn't play poorly. Green Bay shifted into a run-heavy, conservative approach designed to protect the lead and control the clock. And for a while, it worked. But without Love, the Packers lacked the kill shot, the ability to end the game with one decisive drive. They kept the Bears alive, and in the NFL, that's dangerous. The onside kick that changed the night. Recovering an onside kick in today's NFL is almost unheard of. The rule changes have made it nearly impossible. That's what made what happened next feel unreal. Romeo Deuce failed to cleanly secure the kick, the ball popped loose, and the Bears recovered it inside the 2-minute warning. In an instant, the entire energy of the stadium flipped. This wasn't just a lucky bounce. It was a psychological shift. The Packers tightened up. The Bears suddenly believed they had a real chance. Momentum, long considered a cliche, became very real.
Caleb Williams, quiet all night.
Fearless when it mattered. For most of the game, Caleb Williams was not spectacular. There were no highlight throws, no rhythm, no sense that he was taking control of the moment. But great quarterbacks aren't defined by their first 3 quarters. They're defined by what they do when everything is on the line. On the final drive of regulation, Williams showed exactly why Chicago believes in him. With pressure mounting, time evaporating, and no margin for error, Williams led the Bears down the field. Then came the defining moment, 4th and 4. Williams stood tall, slid away from pressure, and delivered a perfect touchdown pass to Jahdae Walker with 24 seconds remaining. It was the kind of throw that separates potential from reality. Overtime. Green Bay blinks first Van Vermeng. The Packers still had their chance in overtime. They won the coin toss and quickly moved into Chicago territory with a 31-yard completion. Then everything unraveled. Facing 4th and 1, Green Bay botched the snap. The play never had a chance. The Bears took over, and everyone in the stadium knew what was coming. Caleb Williams didn't hesitate. On a deep shot to DJ Moore, tightly covered by Kaizion Nixon, Williams delivered the biggest throw of his young career. Moore came down with it. Game over. Soldier Field erupted. More than a win, a power shift, and a power hangout. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. The Bears improved to 11-4. They hold a 1.5 game lead over Green Bay. They are now in control of the NFC North with 2 games remaining. This is the type of victory that changes how a team sees itself and how the rest of the league sees them. What this says about the Bears, this game revealed things that stats never will. Caleb Williams has composure. He doesn't need to dominate for 60 minutes. He just needs to be right when it matters most. Ben Johnson's Bears don't panic. Previous versions of this franchise collapse in this spot. This one stayed connected, disciplined, and confident. The Packers are still dangerous, but incomplete without Love. They controlled the game, but couldn't finish it. In January, that's the difference between contenders and spectators. The moment that may define a season. If the Bears go on to win the NFC North, this will be the game everyone points to. Not because of dominance, not because of perfection, but because of resilience. And if Caleb Williams becomes the long-term franchise quarterback Chicago has been waiting decades for, This night, this comeback, will be remembered as the first defining chapter of his career. For 58 minutes, the Bears were beaten. For the final minutes, they were unstoppable. For almost the entire night, this game felt settled. Not competitive, not dramatic. Settled. Green Bay had taken control early, and once Jordan Love left with a concussion in the second quarter, the script became even clearer. Survive. Manage the game. Lean on the run. Don't give Chicago anything free. And that's exactly what the Packers did for nearly 4 quarters. Malik Willis wasn't flashy, but he was steady. The Packers shortened the game, leaned into their ground attack, and trusted their defense to smother a Bears offense that couldn't generate explosive plays. Caleb Williams looked uncomfortable for long stretches. Chicago couldn't sustain drives. Soldier Field felt tense, quiet, waiting for something that never seemed like it was coming. By the time Green Bay went up 16-6 late in the fourth quarter, it looked over. The Bears had been outplayed for almost 58 minutes. No momentum, no rhythm, no answers. And then the NFL reminded everyone why games aren't decided until the clock hits 0. Chicago's final push didn't begin with a highlight throw or a defensive takeaway. It began with desperation. An onside kick, a play that barely exists anymore in today's league. Rule changes have crushed the success rate. Players line up closer. Recovery teams are better prepared. Coaches almost never expect the ball to come loose, but desperation doesn't care about probability. The kick bounced awkwardly. Romeo Dewes couldn't secure it. And suddenly, the Bears had life. That single moment changed the emotional balance of the game. The Packers went from controlling everything to suddenly feeling pressure. Chicago went from resigned to dangerous. Caleb Williams took the field with 1:56 remaining, down 10, season implications hanging in the air. This is where young quarterbacks often unravel. The moment gets big. The clock speeds up. Mistakes pile on. Williams didn't blink. He didn't hunt the end zone immediately. He took what the defense gave him. Short throws, controlled footwork, calm eyes. Each completion chipped away at the Packers' cushion and tightened the stadium's grip on the moment. The drive stalled just outside the goal line. 4th down. 4 yards. Everything riding on one play. Williams faded back under pressure and threw a perfect ball to the back of the end zone. Jahdae Walker secured it. Touchdown. In an instant, a game that felt dead was fully alive. Chicago didn't get greedy. They kicked the extra point. Tie game. Overtime. That decision mattered more than it looked at the time, because overtime exposed how thin the margins had become. Green Bay received the ball first and immediately looked like they might finish it. A big completion to Jayden Reed pushed them into Bears territory. The Packers were 1 or 2 plays away from setting up a game-winning field goal and walking out of Chicago with the division lead firmly in hand. Then came the snap. 4th and 1. A simple exchange, something that has been executed thousands of times. The ball hit the ground. Willis tried to recover. Bodies collapsed. The Bears came away with it. Just like that, control vanished. Now it was Caleb Williams' game to end. No field goals, no waiting, 1 drive, 1 throw. Williams dropped back and launched deep downfield to DJ Moore. Coverage was tight. Kasian Nixon was right there. The margin for error was almost non-existent. The throw was perfect anyway. Moore tracked it, elevated, and came down with it in stride. Touchdown. Walk-off. Game over. In the span of minutes, Chicago erased a 20-point deficit, survived overtime, and flipped the NFC North race on its head. This wasn't a clean win. It wasn't dominant, but it was resilient, fearless, and opportunistic. For the Bears, this game may define their season. Ben Johnson's first year as head coach already looked promising. This made it real. Chicago didn't just win. They stole a game that disciplined, experienced teams usually don't give away. For Caleb Williams, it was a statement without needing gaudy numbers. He struggled early. He was quiet most of the night. But when the game demanded composure and courage, he delivered twice. Those moments carry more weight than any stat line. For Green Bay, the loss stings because it was avoidable. Losing Jordan Love changed the ceiling, but the Packers still had the game in their hands. 1 failed recovery, 1 botched snap, 1 lapse under pressure. That's all it took. This is how seasons tilt. Not with domination, but with chaos. Not with perfection, but with belief. Chicago didn't play like a team that was supposed to win. They played like a team that refused to lose. And sometimes that's enough to change everything.